This guy was notorious. You talk about the DEA had this guy's face on their #1 list for years. They could never catch this guy. This guy he was one of those dudes during the Korean War that you gave a K-bar to and a compass and a half a sack of beans and send him in there to kill somebody.
How did you become a drug smuggler?
Man, that's a long story.
I got a lot of time.
Well, actually, it all came about when I had a male German Shepherd, and I was looking for a female. This is like in 1971, maybe 72. And here comes with a nice female German Shepherd. This guy shows up with his dogs, and we introduce himself, and we look at his dog. He said he wants to make sure his dog's going to go to a good home, lots of room, and they're not, So we clicked with him and left her dog, and they went away. 2 days later, he comes back, my old lady, and asked me if I want to sell weed for him.
Class act this guy.
Class act this guy.
Man, I mean, he's coming and going.
Coming and going.
Man, all right.
So,
did you know that he f***ed your old lady at that point?
He told me.
He told you.
He told me.
How did he tell you this, man?
You got to keep an eye on your old lady. I just her almost to that.
You got to keep an eye on your old lady. Woo! Where'd the conversation go from there?
You want to sell weed for me?
That was the next thing he said.
Pretty much. First, he asked a lot of questions. I was doing body and fender work. I had a great job. I was making good money. I didn't need to live on his money, so he pretty well figured that I would be there with his money. He
Nice.
gave me 10 pounds of weed and went away.
He trusted you.
He gave me 10 pounds of weed and walked away.
Just walked away and said, like, he wanted to cut.
No, he got his money that he wanted for when he came back around. He came back.
Right. What was his cut?
I don't remember.
Was it a percentage?
Yeah, no, I don't remember. He probably, this was just brick weed. Probably $100 a kilo. I mean a pound, $100 a pound.
$100 a pound.
Probably, I don't really remember. I was selling $10 ounces. So
$10 ounces.
yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, I had a good clientele of people that I would. So he left, and then he came back about 3 weeks later. Well, I remember he just shows up. Boom, here I am. And I had this little funky scale. He took one look at the scale and says, no. He says, here, he gave me a triple beam.
Okay.
Made me buy it from him, $83 or something like that. But if you,
Life. Got you selling pot and made you buy the scale to sell.
well, he said, if you're going to sell pot for me, you're going to have the right of weight.
Man.
And then he weighed the weed, and I had his money. And I think the weed was down like 2 or 3 pounds. He gave me back to 10 and went away. He went back to Mexico. He just got his load up from Mexico. He sold it all off, had a pocket full of cash, and went back to Mexico. And I was just doing my body and fender thing, I don't know, 6, 8 months go by. But here's another 10 pounds of weed. And so we
Couple arrows in his hat or something, or like, do you have any good stories about
this
Mexico?
guy looked like,
I don't know. What did he look like?
well, he's about 6'4", short, really, really curly hair. Looked like Robert Redford.
God damn, dude.
He always had little glasses. This guy was beautiful.
Wow.
And his
So
old lady
the world was his oyster. Right? Everywhere he went, he
and this
just
guy
doors open.
This guy could have done anything he wanted. He was so smart. This guy was the smartest person I have ever talked to. Not saying I've talked to a lot of smart people.
Right.
But this guy, I mean, you could tell him, I need you to call me Friday at 3 o'clock. Here's my number. And most of the time he didn't even write it down.
Wow.
He could remember everything. He could speak Spanish better than the Mexicans.
Wow.
I mean, and he was gorgeous. Anyway, so he comes back to me. I was working for a little place called and I had just bought this nice little rollover pickup truck that I had just almost finished. I mean, I had to paint it and put the interior back in it, but it was pretty much done. I paid $100 for it. Anyway, here comes and he took one look at my little truck and he says, dude, man, the Mexicans would love this truck. He says, I could probably get 200 pounds of weed for this truck in Mexico. You drive it down there, you give it to the Mexicans, and I'll get you 100 pounds of weed.
And then he wants you to mule it back in.
No, we had an airplane going to fly it back in.
He had an airplane set up. He was going to fly it back in. Where was he going to fly it into?
From Acapulco to somewhere on the far Wolf Creek Pass, Oregon, if the plane didn't run out of gas. And if it ran out of gas, he could drop down just this side of Shasta.
Wow.
But that Shasta airport cost him, 10 grand. His name was and this guy was notorious. You talk about the DEA had this guy's face on their #1 list for years. They could never catch this guy. This guy he was one of those dudes during the Korean War that you gave a K-bar to and a compass and a half a sack of beans and send him in there to kill somebody. He brought his plane down there. He was going to fly it out of there, out of Acapulco, which meant that he had to stop in Mazatlan to refuel. Then he would stop in Baja. From his brother would take dune buggies and a big truck full of aviation fuel down to Baja and tell the Mexicans, "Oh, I'm running the dunes." And he said, "Well, you got all yes, I'm not running your gas through my my little runabouts here. You, I'll bring my own gas." They'd stop and fill up there. We had this guy we call Windmill Bill. Because he could come up with a variable on how to wipe your ass. There's 17 different ways to do it, and he'll go through every one of them. So
he would just do that with everything. How to make soup, whatever.
Everything. That's why we call him Windmill. He was just constant.
Okay, was this guy some kind of amphetamine?
No. He was actually, the guy was a pretty straight shooter. I mean, he'd been in Mexico for 10, 15 years. He's been, he was when he had duffel bags between his teeth and he swam around the fence in Brownsville. I mean,
so he swam around the border in Brownsville.
There's a fence that goes so far out into the water.
Out in the water, he swam around that with plastic bags.
No, duffel bags, big bags, like maybe
full of oxygen.
Full of weed.
Full of weed. He's just carrying it in on his teeth like a pirate. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh man.
He spent. He got nailed in Mazatlan. They put his ass in Mazatlan jail. Forever. And
is that where he stayed?
No. He broke out.
Nice.
He basically 12 people broke out, and you went in an order of how much work you did. Like the guy that was up all night long digging, he got out first, and Bill went out last. And the only reason he went out last is because one person ate so much he couldn't get in. They kept telling him, "Stop eating, motherfucker. You're gonna get in that hole and you're stuck in there."
They're going on the whole diet, huh? That's like a brand new diet, the whole diet.
He took on that guy's place and got out. His wife was a seamstress. And sorry, Mexico, your police department at that time was so stupid. She made chair wraps. Like you put a wrap over a chair.
Okay.
Like a little skirt.
Yeah.
They would fill it full of dirt. and make a chair out of dirt and put one of these wraps over it. And the cops didn't realize it was a dirt bag. They did a lot of stuff like that.
So then all of a sudden they got a chair, and so
yeah, and it smells like dirt, but they can't put 6 and 6 together and come up with
Okay.
18.
But you got to get out of the chair at some point too.
No, he just broke out of the hole and went off that chair.
Okay.
They figured it out sooner or later. I figured when they went in the cell and everybody's gone, then all of a sudden they found all this dirt furniture. I mean, you might not be able to do that twice, but he got away with it once. Hey, it's a true story.
So he and these other 11 guys get out.
Right. So Windmill then also...
The fat guy doesn't make it.
That story's over with. That guy doesn't make it. So Windmill, he comes to... We're all in Acapulco, sitting on 1,400 pounds of weed. And was there, was there, and I was there. Windmill was supposed to be in Mazatlan sitting on 4 55-gallon drums of aviation fuel. So when he comes in from Acapulco and lands, he has a safe runway. He knows that this guy's been sitting there and there's no federales waiting for him to show up. And he was waving, come on, you know, and he can fly down, fill up, and get out of there. And he says, if that guy ain't there, I'm not going to fly. It's as simple as that. You know, and that night, I'll never forget this guy. We split a room, and he's across me in his little bed, and he's laying on his side, and I swear to God, his shoulder was touching the ceiling. I mean, this guy had his hands, I shake his hand, and my little tiny hand just got lost in that dude, man. So big.
And this is
yeah. Anybody in the DEA in the early 70s, they killed his ass.
wow. The DEA did.
Yeah.
When?
Well, that's what I'm getting at. So I said, dude, I've been down here for like 10 days. All I do is know this dude's been down here for like 13, 14 years slinging weed. So, you know, he must have some kind of balls.